Alright, I'm hoping third time's a charm here, and the camera keeps going. I just ordered a different memory card. SanDisk cards, man. I don't trust SanDisk cards anymore. They're just junk. I ordered another Delkin, so hopefully I can get this going here. Hopefully the audio is better in this video. I did change a setting on the GoPro to hopefully get a video without an echo. I was having some echoing problems the last couple times now that I had moved my camera. So hopefully we won't have that here. So this is an A7R2 I got in recently. I'm actually going to use this one to test out another one. This one turns on, but there's a major shutter issue. And when I say major, I mean major, because it looks like it failed, and then somebody decided to try to tear it out. I don't know why, but somebody tried to tear the shutter out of this thing. I just don't understand it, why you would try to do that. Makes no sense to me. But so we're going to tear this down to the components for now. I have another A7R2 that it's either an issue with the sensor or it's an issue with the motherboard. I haven't found any boards online, any message boards, Q&A places that can really tell me definitively what the problem with that one is. But what it's doing is when you turn it on, it will basically blink a black screen on the LCD panel. It will blink on and off like it's turning on power. It's trying to initialize, but it doesn't fully start getting into the menus. It will just blink on and off the LCD panel for, I don't know, 3, 4, 5, 6, I don't know, however many times, and then it will shut off. So it's basically like a booting problem. I had read some places that it was an issue with the sensor, the image sensor. I had read somewhere that it's an issue with the firmware chip. It has to be flashed. So I'm trying to see if I can determine which is which, because I do have another camera, or I did have another camera that was doing something very similar, but it wasn't an A7 II. I think it was A7S, maybe, I don't remember, A7, that was having a similar problem. So I'm curious as to what the actual cause is. So what I'm going to probably do first is just break this down to its components, and I want to swap out the motherboard first, since that's on the closest to the back panel side. Swap out the motherboard and see if it works. If it does, great, because you'll know whether the image sensor is functioning then or not. If it doesn't, then I'm going to swap out the image sensor and see if that then fixes it. And then I can answer definitively what that is. I really dislike this screw. I don't know why this one's got to be such a pain in the butt. Oh, I had it. It's like the threads are down inside the body, and it's got like, I don't know, we'll say 1/4 inch of space with the case that doesn't grip onto anything, and it just falls, the screw falls back down inside. Stupid. This camera is quite grimy, quite dirty. When they were trying to get out the blades, it looks like I'm hoping the sensors are still okay, but I mean, there's all kinds of fingerprints on there. This is probably the worst worst one I've seen as far as fingerprints go on the image sensor. I'm really hoping it can be cleaned up. Let's see. The camera there, sorry about that. Yeah, I haven't really decided whether or not I like the camera this low. I might end up moving it back up. I would like to get a better setup, but this is what I got for now. Screen is well loved. I don't know if there's any. Those are pretty drastic gouges there. Looks like some of the outside is flaking off on it. Some of the LCD covering, or whatever is the protective coating on the outside of this. Or is it, what? What is that? What is, oh, okay, yeah, the protective coating is so dried out it's coming off, or? I can't say that I've ever seen this before. Or they had a screen protector on it, and that was an adhesive layer? I'm not really sure. Looks like some of it, whatever it is, it's coming off. I don't know if that's, I don't know what the heck's going on with that. Anyway, I'll probably try cleaning that up more later. You'll be Actually, it'd be kind of nice to have an extra shutter motor unit with gears from this guy. I don't think I have. I don't know. I guess I'll have to check. I don't think I have another set of shutter blades. Wow, that's gonna have to be cleaned up. Wow, that's pretty gross. Not sure what the deal is with that. That's gonna have to go in the sink. Need a good cleaning if I end up being able to. You know, I probably would be able to fix this. I'm just hoping the sensor is still good. I got a pretty good deal on this particular camera. So if I could fix it, it would help me out. But I don't know if I have another set of blades. I don't know whether or not the image sensor is still viable. Eek. That's gonna have to be cleaned up for sure. Oh, what is that? Like couscous or something? Alright, the key thing for me is to not break any of these dang ribbons. I don't have another ribbon set right now, so I like to work fast, but I need to slow down a little bit so that I don't break any of these. This freaking thing, basically the most pointless little piece of plastic ever. I never remember to put those back in. Unfortunately, it's just surface moisture. Fortunately, so far all this is factory, so yeah, nobody's been in this camera. Yeah, I'm gonna take the copper off. Oop. Yeah, I'll leave it on. Half the time I don't remember to put those on either. Okay. Everything looks good on the board. Alright, so the next thing you gotta do is you gotta get this front grip off, and then you take this off. Front grip off the top, take this off, and then you can get the board out. Front grip's held by the screw and the handle here. I just noticed it. On the A7s, there's a post here that you have to take the inside upper right screw off in order for it to allow you to take the back cover off. I just realized now that I had forgot to take the screw out before I took the back cover off, and apparently on the A7 line, I mean A7R2 also, that is not a requirement. And my GoPro just shut off again. I thought that by doing a full format on my memory card, it would fix some of the issues with the recording. But obviously the SanDisk card is starting to go bad. It's getting worse and worse and worse. Be very gentle when you take this front grip off, because there is a ribbon that you don't want to break. It attaches to that shutter button. One very unfortunate thing they did, in my opinion, when they moved to the A7R2 line is move the shutter button into the grip. I very much dislike this shutter power button setup. Because this ribbon, obviously the ribbons are very, very fragile, and they're easy to rip. And if you rip that, you can't turn the camera on, number one. And obviously you wouldn't be able to use the shutter. What is that? Oh, that's got to be clean too. You know what that reminds me of? It reminds me of paintball paint. I play paintball myself. That's what that reminds me of. It's a weird color like that is. Kind of a washed out, chalky kind of color. Do not rip this small little ribbon, because you'll be replacing the whole top ribbon in this. If you've seen in any of my past videos, I accidentally ripped that once. Be very careful. There we go. Over time, these ribbons, they become very, very brittle. The reason why you want this off is so that you can get at the battery compartment ribbon. This ribbon is about impossible to take off without removing that piece. very easy to take out after you do. Okay, so to take the top off now, we've got to take the EVF out. And if you watch many of my videos, you probably have seen this a million times, but I don't get many views, so I assume the people who are watching it or haven't done it before. Then you got to take these two screws out. Probably going to move that pad. That pad's not very centered. I generally don't like to mess with these because they're usually pretty easy to mess up. As you can see, I took a chunk out of that. Try this. There we go. These are very, very soft, but they are heat sinks, thermal sinks. Thermal pads. Okay, so once you have that off, you can just barely put pressure in pulling this open. Kind of wiggle it a little bit. You don't want to give it too much pressure. You don't want to rip anything, of course. If it's being a bear, this edge. Moisture gets around the sealing surfaces here. What little sealing it does do. But around these cracks, moisture gets in there and expands the metal interface. Just some gentle nudging. Oh, try not to do that. There we go. Alright, so you got 3 ribbons that are attached to the body at this point. Got these 2 that are attached to the main board. And then that grip ribbon underneath here. Alright, these screws need a little bit of a cleanup. I do like to, anymore, I'll give the screw a clean up and then I'll replace some of the outside screws with inside screws that are extra corroded. I need to take this off of here. Ends up picking up screws that I don't want to pick up. Yeah, some of these are pretty crusty from the outside. They get corrosion and dirt. least this way you can make the screws on the outside look a little bit nicer. There's all kinds of them in this top that you can swap. Freaking magnets. That one is really corroded, or well, just really dirty. Oh, looks like some of the paint is coming off of the hot shoe. That happens. I'm kind of surprised that more isn't off of this particular one, just because of the wear on this one. There's a lot of wear on this camera. Excuse me. One more. So far, the board's looking good. I think I already looked at it earlier. shutter and the front contact ribbons. These are the image sensor ribbons. This one can be quite in there. Since it's I don't know why they made this one more of a friction fit. It must just have to do with the number of ribbon connections, I guess. I don't know, but I'm just surprised that some of these are, the bigger ones are friction fit like that, like the smaller ones. Okay, so now take the board tray off. I found that I prefer to leave the board itself on the tray. This has got to be cleaned big time. Lucky that that didn't get anywhere else. Oh, that's where that's at. Okay. The reason why I don't like to take this off of the board tray is because the battery's on the back side, number one, and it messes up the thermal contact points on those pads. So if I don't have to inspect the board on the back side, I just won't do it. So I need this for later. I'm going to be using this to test out, like I said, that other unit. So next comes the IBIS. Be interested to see if there are any noticeable cracks on the sensor brackets. There's also a tendency for these posts to break, like that one's broke. I've been trying to test these before taking this off because you don't want those components falling into the camera. Alright, so one broken post. Also be very careful because you have shims. Ooh, yeah. See this, yeah, I wonder. Shutter stopped working, I bet. Potentially some of this bracket came off. See how that's cracked there? That is a known issue with these cameras. That is unfortunate. I very much prefer the A7. they don't have issues. It's a solid piece of alloy, metal alloy. I don't know what they use in these, but they made a mistake when building the IBIS in the image sensor mounts, the bracket mounts to hold everything together. Ooh, Jesus. I lost a screw on that one. That would have sucked. Yeah, I wonder if I'm gonna see that broken component, that broken bracket in the shutter gears. This took a hit, which broke the shutter mount. And also that post. Oh yeah, I forgot. I gotta take the mic port out. That's the weirdest thing. You gotta take the mic port out. Ooh. There's a chunk of bracket right down by the shutter gears. At some point I want to try to rebuild one of the shutter units with blades. But man, is it complicated in there. I just really don't like the I just don't really like messing with them. They're so complicated in there. So many little springs, and there's multiple layers. I mean, this could be rebuilt with new blades, but I'm keeping them just to have them. There's an AFE 3379. Do I have a 3379? Do I have a 3379? Yeah, I know I have a parts camera that will have it, but, well, I mean, I have lots of parts cameras, but the parts cameras I'm talking about have, no, I have a shutter motor. I don't have a shutter unit. The parts cameras I have are, a lot of them are waiting for me to find a camera that has a good main board, but everything else is broken. which I don't know if I will find any like that. So at some point I might end up breaking them down. Does this spin? Do I see any other chunks in here? Let's see. Got a little something in there. I tell you, I cannot wait for the new memory card I ordered to come in. Okay, spinning. So it's important to keep as much dirt and grime out of your camera as you can. So it might end up in the shutter motor. Okay. Alright, so nothing's blocking the shutter motor, fortunately. Nothing wrong with the gears. Just some weird gunky stuff. Okay. So, man, also bent up the metal here. That probably doesn't help anything. I have new ones of those for the A7, but they're going to be different. Oh, excuse me. Oh. Those are going to be different than the A7 II. I'll have to put that on the list to order. Okay, so that's where we're at for this thing. Busted down to the components. Nice little bracket piece. So now part 2 is going to be testing out with the other camera, the main board, and seeing if the main board allows the other one to function. If so, then I'll likely keep this one a parts camera and leave it broken down. because I did get it fairly reasonable. The only problem I'll have to disclose is the shutter count isn't going to be accurate, obviously, because you're taking out a main board from one and putting it into another. What's that? Little piece of gunk. But yeah, so that's where we're at. Kind of an interesting little tear down. Man, I don't know what this guy or person was thinking. It's kind of an odd material that these are made out of. Is that a metal? Yeah, it's got to be a metal. Really like thin foil kind of thing. Anyway, I'll stop babbling and the video. Stay tuned for part 2. All right. Thanks for watching. If you're watching, bye.